Hey everybody, welcome back to Chortle Cast.
Hey
I'm Jake.
Welcome back to Chortle Cast. I'm Brody.
And we also have Steven here.
And we have Steven.
And I have candy in my mouth.
And he has candy.
He's chewing on some sort of candy.
He's chewing on candy, y'all.
This is the official podcast of Chortle Games, where we talk about TV show, anime, movies, whatever the heck we want to talk about, video games.
TV show.
TV show. The only one that anyone should care about that's dark on Netflix. You have to go watch it right now.
But watch it in German, unless you're trash like Jake.
I'm not gonna hate you if you watch it dubbed. That's fine. Anyway, we talk about whatever we want to talk about on the show, and today is the last episode of 2017. So I thought it would be only fitting that we talk about our favorite games from this year. So the personal best of 2017 for the Chortle Games crew. So that's what we're going to be doing. We are almost completely off next week. Christmas Day, we will be having a Christmas special, which is we've already filmed. It's super exciting. We're playing Civic Doodle, which is a Jackbox game. It's got me, Brody, and 2 other guests. So look forward to that. Actually, this upcoming Monday. So merry early Christmas for everybody.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But after that, you won't see us again until January 5th, where we will have the year 1 anniversary of Chortle Cast, but also another great podcast talking about 2018.
We already had our anniversary.
For the podcast, though, it's the next episode, which is on January 5th. Mm-hmm. So
my fiance's birthday.
But we can't go out of 2017 without talking about Star Wars first. So if you want to jump straight to the games, skip ahead maybe 10 minutes. We're just going to do a quick overview of what we thought of the movie. Brody, you want to go first?
Yeah, I really liked the reprisal of Jar Jar Binks' role in the movie. The scene where Rey and Kylo are together, and she rips her face off to reveal that she is actually Jar Jar Binks. Was just
a second to Jar Jar Binks?
There's 2.
Oh, there's 2?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, her and Kylo rip off their faces.
In case you can't tell, Brody has not seen this movie. We're going to try to stay spoiler free for Brody's sake.
I don't care.
But we'll just give some of our big thoughts on it. So Steven probably has the most salty thoughts on it. I really liked it. I thought it was enjoyable. I liked the action scenes. My biggest complaint is probably I don't understand the slowest chase scene in the galaxy, where they're slowly following the rebels and just slowly
There's so many
pounding on them.
With that scene.
I don't get
so
why.
Many problems.
There's people have argued hyperspace in front of them. Wouldn't that have solved it? So there's a lot of things I agree with on that, but overall, I thought the movie was really great. I continue to love Rey as a character, and I'm excited to see what she does next. But
I'd love to still... Steven, do you still love Rey?
So let's get...
Okay.
Steven, you got 10 minutes. You can talk about this.
Okay, here we go. Star Wars The Last Jedi is the second worst, if not worst, Star Wars movie ever made.
Wow.
Yes. The second worst or worst compared to it would be The Force Awakens. But
You haven't liked any of the new ones?
None of them. None of them. Force Awakens was a complete rehash, and The Last Jedi couldn't commit to being a rehash or something new. It wanted to have its cake and eat it too, and it wouldn't just double down on something.
Gotcha.
And I can't really say specifics there without getting into spoiler territory, but my problem with it is not just the fact, and I've seen a lot of, fanboy outrage, which at one point in time I was a Star Wars fanboy. That was one of my biggest things as a kid. To defend my stance on this movie, I don't dislike it just because it's not a good Star Wars movie, but I don't like it because it's not a good movie, in my opinion, from a writing standpoint. That's entirely based in writing, not even like actor portrayals. But and I said this on Facebook, those of you, the 2 of you that actually looked at my post on Facebook. It's a movie that doesn't play by the rules of its own franchise. Things just kind of happen and people act a certain way just because the plot needs them to. This movie has so many plot holes that there's barely a plot left. And someday we'll have to do Like, just even if it's just you and me, Jake, we need to talk spoilers about that movie because I have so many things to say. But it's worth seeing once because, as much as I hate to admit it, it is still Star Wars. But I hated it. I'm being blunt. I know, but I hated it.
Wow.
I can't think of a single thing aside from Poe and the hyperspace jump scene from a visual standpoint. Those are the only two things that I liked.
So you didn't like the part at the end with Luke?
No. Okay.
Did you cry, Steven?
No.
I didn't cry either, though, to be fair.
So the Luke stuff.
Is Mark Hamill still?
It's not Luke, and Mark Hamill still hates the fact that it's not Luke.
I did see a thing that like Mark Hamill like read the script and was like, I disagree with everything in this, but you're the director, so I'm gonna do it.
He went to talk to Rian Johnson, writer and director, and basically was like, hey, I am shocked that you perceive Luke this way. And I don't know how Rian Johnson responded, but by the way the movie turned out, it was probably more or less, I don't care, I'm the writer/director, you do what I say. But he's probably a nicer guy than that.
Well, I thought Mark Hamill, though, did a great job with what he was given.
Oh, Mark Hamill's, he's always excellent,
Right.
for sure. But he wasn't Luke, and he knew that he wasn't Luke in this movie. It's just with everything that I think the movie tried to do that was cool, like the hyperspace jump thing, even Poe as a character, with everything that I found myself wanting to like, there were at least two things that were a bigger problem. So it's like with every good thing, there were three bad things about this movie.
The biggest takeaway that I got from it was, or message that I felt coming out of it was that they were, they've said rumors about they're going to start a new Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
That's completely different, has nothing to do with the Skywalkers, blah 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 blah.
I saw that.
You could have told me that this movie was the prequel to that, and I would have believed it. Because everything was, the Jedi have to end, the Sith have to end, all this has to end. And I kept waiting, and then it doesn't end. You know what I mean? Like the movie's over, but it's still going.
But then at the end of the movie, well, I can't say that. The whole sentiment of the Jedi having to end,
Right.
It does not follow through.
Right.
The movie ends with, well, the Jedi won't end.
Right.
So this movie set itself up to be innovative, to actually take the franchise somewhere. But what I walked away with was a movie that couldn't commit to that sentiment. It just would not do anything that actually changed anything. And when it was trying to be edgy, when it wasn't trying to be edgy and try to subvert expectations, it felt like I was watching episode 5 and 6 again. Like it couldn't decide if it wanted to be episode 5 or 6, or if it wanted to be edgy and subvert all expectations. Like it felt like a movie that was designed by the director. It felt like he read a bunch of theories and stuff on the internet and was like, well, screw you guys, I'm gonna make a movie that makes all of you wrong. That's what I'm gonna do. And that's what Last Jedi is. It's a movie made solely for shock value and expectation subversion, and that's not a good thing.
Right. Yeah, sometimes it's good to have your expectations realize and your theory be proven right. Well, regardless, I think we can't argue that it looks stunning. It's visually awesome. The actors all did great. Yeah, Brody doesn't know. But anyway, enough about that. Let's get into video games.
I watched Chris Stuckman's review of it because Chris Stuckman is like my favorite movie reviewer on YouTube. But he said that all the lightsaber fights were really awesome.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. We've talked enough about Star Wars. I will go on. Let's talk about our personal favorite games of 2017.
It's going to drive me nuts that this microphone's not
So
in the
to
middle of
clarify the rules,
Well, it's got to be closer to you.
the show. I know.
Yes.
to clarify the rules on what we're doing, it had to have come out this year.
So yeah, for 2017, this is our personal favorites. So kind of what I'm setting this as is it came out in 2017. We each have 5 that we've selected. We'll probably have some overlap, but basically it's just what you playing in 2017 enjoyed most. What I tried to say, let's keep it in 2017, but I gave everyone the option for number 5 to be something that you played for the first time this year that just really rocked your world.
Thank you for that.
So, yeah, well, I
'Cause
knew Steven
really-
had mentioned he hadn't played
Yeah.
a lot of new games, so it was going to be kind of a wing in it thing. And I think Brody and I both have a tie for 5. So
I'm going to go with my honorable mention of this one because it came out it probably came out in like 2015 on PC, but 2016 for PS4, and this year for Switch. But Stardew Valley.
Right.
Because me and my fiance love playing it, and that's my honorable mention, and that's all I'm going to talk about it.
Steven, I assume you don't have an honorable mention.
The Division. It's so good. I promise.
Okay.
Play it.
I'll allow it
Someone.
since they released DLC this year.
Yeah, sure. We'll allow it. For
And
an
it's
honorable
really
mention.
good. Okay.
All right, let's start with number 5. Who would like to go first?
We'll let Steven go first since we both have the same one.
Yes, Steve.
So are we going in worst to best?
Yeah,
or
worst
less
to best?
most?
So
Yeah,
number
5 to
5.
1.
What
Okay.
is your
So-
worst best
Hold on, let me
game?
pull up what I got. Worst best
Your
game.
worst best
Hold
game,
on.
number 5.
Well, in the vein of what Brody said, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Okay.
And again, I haven't played much this year, and I was really searching for the stuff that, not necessarily quality, but
what you had the most
my
fun playing
experience
this
with it.
year is what we're looking for.
and it's really fun because I love Lego games. I love Marvel superheroes. It feels like a really good blend of both, and it's something that Anna and I can play together. We both really enjoy it. And for the first time, I don't think I've talked about this yet. For the first time ever in a Lego game, since I played back in 2008 Lego Star Wars, I think that's how long ago it was. They finally have a good character creator where you can actually like pick powers and weapons and everything.
Huh, I haven't dived into that yet.
It's awesome.
No.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
I'll say this.
The open world's really
I've only
fun,
played a
story's
little bit
cool.
of that one, and just the amount of characters and how different they all feel blows my mind.
Really. And the problem I had with the first one is that none of them really felt. It felt like there was different subsets of characters, but each of those subsets had the same ability, basically.
Right.
So it's like
there's
characters that can see special things,
Right.
but all of them see special things.
There's definitely some subsets. Like there's certain people who can fly and shoot some sort of thing.
Yeah.
But they all feel different. Does that make sense? Like if you really just want to analyze it, you could pick out and group up similar people.
Yeah.
But they all feel different. And then there's some people like Groot who's just I didn't play anybody who felt like Groot the whole time I was playing. So
Yeah, Groot is unique. But for example, with some characters, if you hold down circle, they can charge up a blast and do like an AoE kind of damaging blast thing. But if you play Black Bolt, he can do that. But instead of just doing like a blast around him, he breathes in and like coughs and shoots a blast forward.
Right.
And it does sonic damage. So even though he plays similar to another character that can do the AoE blast, it looks different and performs different. So there are similarities in the fact that characters can play the same way,
right.
but they perform different.
And what's also astonishing about that is the controls are so simple, and every button does a similar thing for each character, but it still feels and is different. So that's a good game. But I'm surprised I know you love playing that one, Steven, but that's a good one to put on a list. All right, Brody, do you want to go next for your number 5?
Our number 5 is Cuphead, because it's a damn good game.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah, good
I'll
job,
just
NVHR.
I'll go ahead and say my 5 is a tie, and part of it is Cuphead, which shocks me because
I'm not surprised.
I was not expecting to like it. When you suggested it for the channel, I was like, I'll suffer through this, but it has been so much fun.
I've been looking forward to it since they showed it at E3 like several years ago, just because the style of it. But the gameplay, like as it kept getting like closer and closer to releasing, looked like really good.
Right.
And I think they did really awesome with it. And I think just this week broke 2 million sales, which
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah. I hope they do a sequel, but the style of it is amazing. The gameplay loop is so satisfying.
Yeah, I mean,
like every time we come over to record, I'm like, okay, thank you. We have to play Cuphead. Like I've been dying to start on it. Just because even though you fail miserably at first, you learn as you continue.
I think in the candy episode we uploaded this week, there was like at the beginning of the episode, we looked at a pool that told us how many times we've died so far.
It's like 270, and then after the episode, we had
was
died like 150 times or something like that.
It was insane.
I love it though, but you learn like because every time we play a level,
You
the
learn
first
unless
section,
it's the freaking candy lady who I didn't understand.
it was just
her
the candy
patterns.
corn though, but we still learned her system. Like the first time we played the Clown Man, oh, I felt like that first stage of his whole fight
Yeah.
took us forever. But then once we broke through it, it always went like that.
Yeah.
The rest of the
I mean,
time.
that's why I like Dark Souls and Bloodborne
right.
because of that kind of loop. I know Steven hates those games, but
Don't hate them.
he's had bad experiences with those games.
They are
of-
not for me.
Yeah, but that's the core game loop I like.
Yeah.
Because I know we played Bloodborne when it came out, and you just gave up.
I don't know that I want this is kind of a reason why it's a tiebreaker here is for me, I don't know that I could play Cuphead on my own and enjoy it as much as I do playing with a friend.
Yeah.
That said though, I've had a blast with it. So
Yeah, it's awesome.
a lot of fun. Well, I'll round off 5 then. My number 5 is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And we were talking just a minute ago. I can't remember if last year that was on my most anticipated.
I don't think it was. I don't think they
I don't think we
announced
had
it
known about
until
it
the
yet.
Switch announcement.
There you go. That's what it was. I'll say this much. It came out and has just shocked me every time. It is so much fun. The strategy part of it is a lot of fun. It won Best Strategy Game this year at the Game Awards.
What?
Yeah, did you not know that? It beat XCOM.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Did y'all miss this?
No! No!
It did.
I missed that. I didn't
It
know
beat
it beat
XCOM.
That's stupid.
It also won Best Family Game. But
We're going to have words about that later, Jake.
it's not my fault that it won.
I know.
I didn't, and
It's
so
because
anyway,
it has the
Yeah.
Nintendo name on it.
Anyway, I've
And it's
really
not as
enjoyed my time
accessible.
with it. The story is goofy, but the gameplay is so satisfying. Again, the rabbits are silly. Like, I don't necessarily like that it's rabbits.
Yeah.
Or rabbids. It could have been Mario. It could have been this same style of gameplay, but just with Mario, and I probably would have enjoyed it just as much.
I don't know if I would have been as forgiving if it didn't have the Mario characters in it.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I
if
hate
it
rabbits.
was just rabbits, I probably would have never picked it up.
Yeah.
But either way, this is a lot of fun, and I like it a lot. So, anyway, that's my number 5.
Number 4.
4.
We don't have a
4,
graphic.
4,
I don't know,
4,
do we?
4. I can
4.
make one.
Bam.
Do you want a graphic?
Sure, man. Throw
Whatever.
it up.
We'll see.
4. Bam.
All right. Steven, you went first the last time.
Yes.
Unless you continue that loop.
So these are going to be in no order for me, like as far as like best and least best. But number 4, Pyre.
Pyre, okay.
Was that the one by Supergiant?
Yes.
Okay. I need to play that one.
You do. I have not even beaten it. I'm probably not even that deep into it. But just from what I played, like when you think of video games as an art form, Supergiant is the developer I think of.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because they are so good. Like Bastion, Transistor, which I haven't gotten to play yet, and then Pyre. Like from like a visual design to the music to just the storytelling is just so beautiful. It's just impressive.
The artwork of all of those have always attracted me, but personally, I haven't always been as interested in the gameplay. But go ahead, Steven. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And that's valid because Pyre is like the mixture between a visual novel and a basketball game, which is so weird. And I've talked about it before.
Mystical
on the
basketball
channel.
game, though, too, right?
A mystical basketball game that has elements of like tag, but you stay for the characters, you stay for the story, you stay for the experience in the music and everything. Like Darren Korb does the music. I have both the Bastion soundtrack and the Pyre soundtrack on my Spotify, and I listen to them regularly. It's that kind of good,
Right.
And that's the main thing. Aside from Supergiant just making top-notch games,
Right.
I find myself almost as excited for the soundtrack for the game as I am for the actual game itself. And this would
You definitely do that a lot too.
Yeah, that's actually
A big thing for you is the music.
a big thing in my next one.
Oh, okay. Is there anything else you want to say about Pyre, Steven? I need to try it. I'd love to play it with you at some point, maybe over the holiday break if we get a chance. But
Yeah, come hang out. You can play it. It's good.
I tried
it
it.
takes some.
did you?
Yeah, I
Did
tried
you
it
like
while I was at Steven's house and got wrecked. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Oh, did you play the multiplayer?
I think so.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Because I think you were like, don't do story because, like you
Well,
were
it's
already
slow.
in it.
Like, yeah,
Maybe.
that's true. That's because I didn't know if it made a second save file or not. That's a good point. Yeah, I think that's what I said.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, all right, Brody, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Nier Automata, which was on my most anticipated for 2017. I think it may have been my number 4. But yeah, it lived up to the expectation and anticipation. It's a JRPG made by Platinum Games, who also made Bayonetta and Wonderful 101. And they were going to make Scalebound, which was on your most anticipated list.
Oh, yeah.
It still
Yeah.
hurts.
R.I.P. Scalebound.
R.I.P. reason I bought an Xbox One. Thank God for Cuphead.
Yeah. But I mean, it's such a good game. The music was awesome. I love the characters. The story was really good. The core gameplay of it was like felt awesome. It's a Platinum game. It wouldn't be if it didn't feel good.
The music was amazing.
The music was, I mean, that's why it won the best music award at the
Right.
Game Awards this year. Is so good. The story has like 5 different parts. Like you beat the game the first time and it's like keep playing or play again. There's still stuff to do, so there's like 5 different routes, and the first 3 are pretty much like their own like game's length of like 15 to 20 hours to beat, and then like the last 2 kind of like tie in with the third one so they don't take as long. But just all of it was fun to me. I loved it. It was really good.
I haven't played any of it, but I've heard other people talking about it. And the thing that always kind of like really I thought sounded really cool was your character menu or something. You can like
Yeah, there's a UI where you have like different things, chips to put into your character. There's
Right.
like one that's like the HUD, health bar, damage numbers to enemies. So you can like take those out if you want to take like get rid of the HUD and stuff, and put in
more
chips like
damage.
plus damage, plus movement, stuff like that. But there is a memory chip that if you take it out, kills you and ends the game. So
love that.
there's 5 main endings to the game, and then there's a bunch of like silly ones.
Right.
Like some character gave me a fish and was like, "Hey, eat this. I'm doing an experiment. I heard these are dangerous to androids," which your character is. And she was like, "I just want to see what happens." And my character ate it, and she died. And then it was like, it goes through the credits really fast, and it was like game over. And I was like, okay. But
that's
it's
one of the endings.
yeah, it's a really fun game, and I think I've seen it down to like $25 and $30 now, because it came out in like
It was early
March,
Yeah.
I think. So it's worth it. I loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's. I feel like it's one of those games. It would take too much time for me to really enjoy, but dang, I love Witcher, and I spent like 300 hours in that. So
That was, I think that may have been one of your top 2016 was Blood and Wine. Have you ever actually even got to it?
did I count that in? I've played through parts of it. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna
still
say,
haven't beaten it.
because you listed it and you were like, I got it, or like jumped back in, started it all the way over to play Blood and Wine, and like you were like, I haven't gotten there yet, and then I was like, I haven't heard him talk about that. Did he ever get there?
I've said this before. I haven't beaten it, and really, I haven't done enough of the story of it to really know a lot about it. I've done a lot of the peripheral things in it, basically I messed up because I started a brand new game on New Game Plus. So I would have all my cool stuff that I had at the end of the game, but that I would replay through the whole game and just experience the whole deal. What I didn't I guess what I realized, but did not realize how it would affect me, was that by doing New Game Plus, I was basically a level 30, and I got set to 0, and everything else was set to appropriate with a level 30 person. So now all the new stuff was harder than the original stuff because it was expecting someone to be on like level 50 from beating the entirety of the rest of the game. Here's a new challenge for you. So for me, as someone who started the game over, it was a completely way too difficult challenge. So I've pushed through a lot of it, but I haven't really done the story. So that is funny though that happened.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Well, I'll talk about my number 4.
Talked about it on podcast before.
About my number 4?
Yeah, I just saw it.
It is Golf Story on the Nintendo Switch. Don't laugh, Steven. It is
I'm listening.
so much fun. I've heard other people on podcasts talk about this game. It's an indie game that came out on Switch. The core mechanic is golfing, but you do so much more than just golf. My favorite example of this, and I'm sure I've talked about it before, is I was at a golf course, and this guy comes up to me and is like, hey, we're having a problem with gophers. I need you to come with me to see what the problem is. So I'm like, all right, man, sure, whatever. So I go with him. He takes me out to this remote location. We're across a river, and we look up, and there's these 2 goth people. And they're like, yes, gophers, thank you for bringing us everything we need. Now we can raise the dead army or whatever. They raise this army of the dead, and the dude looks over at me, and it's like, all right, man, we got to stop these zombies. Here's a golf club. And I was just like, really? And so you have to hit golf clubs at these moving zombies that are coming at you. It was so much fun. But like things like that happen all across the game. There's so many little nice secrets and stuff. It's very charming because you could be the best golfer in that game and everyone still thinks you suck. Like they're all going to tell you just how horrible you are. But it's all about getting to the pro leagues and beating the pros. It's great. I've had a great time with it. I hope they do like a sequel or they come out. I'm going to be looking out for this guy who did it. I can't remember his name, but I'm going to be looking out for something, whatever they do next, because it was a lot of fun. So
one of your pros that you just listed was, it's great. You could be great and everyone thinks you suck.
Yeah. Yeah. The game. I mean, you could play a perfect hole, and the characters will still be like, well, your form is terrible, or something like that. Like they will just berate you with how bad you are at golf.
That's too real.
It's so funny. It's so funny. There's so many great funny moments in it. It really, especially bro, you with a Switch. It's a $20 game. It's so worth your time. I think it's $15. Like it's so worth your time. Any Switch owner, if you're looking for a game, to play it. It's so much fun. It's a lot of fun. It really, it's one of the reasons why I thought about jumping into Stardew Valley, was because I was enjoying that so much.
Yeah, they're different.
And they have a similar development cycle and story. So I was like, well, all right, maybe I'd like that, but I haven't liked Stardew Valley as much. So
you have to get past the first month.
Yeah. But anyway, that's my golf story. If you have a Switch, you have to play it. It's just a no-brainer.
Number 3.
Three.
Speaking of absurd things in video games, South Park: The Fractured Butthole.
Great. This is Steven's number 3.
It was a great game.
I knew it'd be on here.
And I say this because it's one of those games. I was in a dry spell when it came to single player games because I've just become much more of a social gamer, to where I just have a hard time sitting down and playing a good story, which is one of the reasons why I haven't beaten Pyre yet. But South Park was like the second wind of single player games for me. It was just a funny experience that was still like super charming and actually had really good gameplay. And it came out this year, and it's one of the only games that came out this year that I've actually played this year. But it was good. Right. It was really good. There's some things that I will never unsee from that game.
There's things that you
Jared
told
from
me
Subway.
about that I'll never unsee from that game.
Jared from Subway.
Yeah.
Every time
When
I
you
eat at
have
Subway
to-
now, that's all I think about.
You and Scott Malkinson, aka Captain Diabetes, have to go into a strip club and perform a lap dance for two drunk men that think you are strippers. And it's doing like this like poppy dubstep in the background.
Right.
And while you're twerking in this guy's face and farting in his face, and it's a great game. It's just,
It's great. He just said you farted in a guy's face and then said it was a great game.
it's a lot. It's a lot. There's the fart humor is way too much. It like they basically, I think Honest Trailers put it best when they said that South Park: The Fractured Butthole sought to see if it was possible to make a game purely based on farts, and they pretty much did. But there's a lot of good around it. Like, I've liked South Park, like the show, for a long time, and so it actually felt like playing an episode of South Park, and that's what was charming for me. So
That's awesome.
that's my subpar number 3.
Subpar number 3. All right, Brody, what's your number 3?
Mario Odyssey.
That's your number 3.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, all right.
It was good. It's a good Mario game.
Oh,
You get a hat, not like this one. You get a hat named Cappy.
He could look like a beanie.
I mean, yeah, he could look like a beanie. He looks like several things in the game. He looks like a top hat. He looks like a bones.
A bone.
Yeah, bones. Isn't one of the thing bones?
A bones.
One of the spoilers
bones.
for Mario Odyssey. One of the things you get after you beat the game, but you have to have like $1 million to get it.
Yeah, so like
is a
999
skeleton
coins.
suit. But I don't think Cappy has. The only thing that Cappy has that
No,
matches
the-
that is the dry bones head,
That was what I was talking about.
which
a
makes you look
bones.
like a caveman.
Yeah, a bones. It's fun to mix up his different costumes. Anything that like puts costumes in games is. I said it in.
For Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, that may be one of the best additions
Yeah.
that they've done.
For the most anticipated video we did a year ago, when I said Breath of Wild, one of the things I was most excited about was being able to customize Link with different like clothes and stuff. So I don't know why that's always like awesome to do in games to me, but it is. But yeah, the core gameplay was awesome. The controls were tight. They felt awesome.
It felt good playing as Mario.
Yeah.
And throwing Cappy. It all just felt right.
Yeah.
And the capture mechanic is awesome and
It's
huge.
really fun.
There are so many moments in the game we've talked about at the end of the main story. Just there's a moment where it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm about to do this. Like, it's so exciting.
I loved it. It's such a good game. Like, it's never going to go down in price because it's a Nintendo game, and Nintendo games never, ever go down in price. But
It's worth
just
it.
just get it.
It's worth it. It's a great
it's-
game on Switch, too, because you can jump in, do a world,
Yeah.
and then quit and go.
I mean, you
and
don't even have to, like, do a world. Just go around and find moons.
find a few moons. You feel like you're checking off something on a list, and
Mm-hmm.
then you go on and you're done. But on the same tune, you could spend hours just one more moon, just one more moon.
Yeah.
But like, it's the perfect Switch game on the go to just jump in and play for a little bit and get out.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be, like, tons of kids this year that are getting it, which
Mm-hmm.
is crazy to think that some people's, like, first video games
Are going to
are
be
going to
Mario
be
Odyssey.
like Mario Odyssey, and their first console is going to be the Switch. That'd be crazy. As a kid, the Nintendo 64 was crazy.
Well,
but
and it's
like,
weird for me being we're a generation that our first system was the Nintendo 64, or at least in my case.
Yeah, mine was.
So it's
Game Boy Color.
it's interesting
Does that
how
not count? Okay.
Was that-
how that's all kind of layering up, and
Yeah.
yeah, like there are kids that the Switch is going to be their first system.
Yeah.
Who knows what we're going to be playing when they're talking about video games?
Probably
You know what I mean?
Freaking millions of Nintendo Switches under Christmas trees right now.
Well, yeah.
I saw one purchased yesterday.
You what?
I saw a Nintendo Switch purchased for Christmas just yesterday.
Ah,
Which is crazy because when they first came out, they were impossible to find. And like I've been to Walmart here a couple of times and seen like one sitting around, but they definitely up the production.
yeah. They did good on all that. They knew it was good. Well, I think once they knew it was successful, it was like, okay,
Yeah, I mean,
we knocked it. This isn't the Wii U.
Yeah.
Let's really hammer in. But yeah, Mario Odyssey was a great game. I have 2 huge surprises on my list. The first was Cuphead. The second is Destiny 2. That is my number 3.
I'm waiting.
Huh?
I'm waiting to see Steven's reaction.
It's only your number 3 because Brody took like 4 of yours.
No, I didn't care what Brody's. No, I picked these all before I saw Brody's list.
I guess since we're talking about Destiny 2, I've heard the Dawning is a terrible event and that
Really?
all the stuff is locked behind Tess again.
Well, yeah, like all the bikes and sparrows.
Like the
and,
event stuff.
like the event gear.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But instead
why-
of leveling up, like in Overwatch, during the events, when you level up, you get that events box. So you definitely get stuff from that event. But leveling up during the event for the Dawning gets you a normal box. So basically, the only way to get it.
You crash some of that stuff. You get some bright dust.
What,
and
like
you
10?
buy it back. You know.
You get like
No,
10
you get
bright
about 200. You
dots.
get about 200
Okay.
for like if you get a sparrow or something. That's like 300 or 400 you burn. And then also shaders. You should go through your shaders and see which ones give you bright dust. Because I got about $2,000 or 2,000 bright dust just from burning straight shaders that I don't care about.
There was shaders that you get from Tess, like as a gift for the event. But when you break them down, instead of getting bright dust for them, they give you legendary marks instead. Yeah.
Interesting.
But if you buy that shader, when you break it down, it
But you guys
turns
don't
back
want
into
to
bright
get.
dust.
But there's snowball fights that we can do, and all sorts of fun
Can
stuff
I
like
take
that.
out a boss with snowballs?
Apparently, they shock enemies or something, and so it'll make some things easier. But I don't know. Anyway, forget all the bad things about Destiny. I had a great time playing it with you guys when y'all both liked it, and it was that first month where you two were not salty about it was one of the best months of 2017. Getting to play it with you guys, and that's why it's on my list because y'all made me like a game that I never would have thought I would have liked. So I love Destiny 2. I even hearing all these other people who liked the first game talking about how bad it was or how bad this is going and all this. Sure, they're making some mistakes with the DLC, but the game I still have a lot of fun with. So I know y'all's complaints about there's nothing you're working for and all this and that, and I don't understand it because I just had a great time. But
Well, speaking of, games that you don't think you'll like, The Division.
Is that your number 2?
it can't be.
No, it's-
Can't be.
okay.
He
It
breaks
can't
the
be.
rules.
I was like, no,
It
that was
breaks the rules.
that was your honorable mention. You can't mention it twice.
Well, anyway, I really had fun with Destiny 2, especially with you guys when we were all playing together. I still want to do the raid at some point with y'all, but, whatever. I've had a great time with it, and that's why it's number 3. What's your number 2, Steven?
Should I do my my
Actually-
didn't come out this year
Actually,
game?
I want to do my number 2 first because it's already been named Mario Odyssey. So, there you go.
Sorry, I screwed yours up.
No, it's okay. I don't care. It was a great game. I put it at my number 2 because I liked it a whole lot. But, whatever. Anyway. All right, Steven, what's your number 2?
Should I do my it didn't come out this year, but I played it this year for the first time game, or my top of the came out this year games next?
I guess the
one
Just
that
played
didn't
it
come out
this
this
year.
year. Yeah, you just played it this year.
Dying Light.
Okay.
yes, that is a fun game.
Yeah, and it's I've played a lot of games for the first time this year, but as far as a game that deserves more merit than it got, Dying Light is definitely up there because from a story standpoint, it's nothing special, but
story's
gameplay
dull
wise,
as
and yeah, the story's really dull, but from a gameplay standpoint, I am fairly confident in saying it's the best zombie game I've ever played.
Have you ever dropkicked
It
a
just
zombie?
gets-
Play the game.
You do it all
Yeah,
the time.
dropkick a zombie, then tell me it's not the best gameplay you've ever played in a zombie game. But it's gotten a lot of support this year with like 12 free DLCs, There's community events that make it to where your kicks are amplified by like 1,000%, so you can kick zombies to the moon. It's just a fun game, and there's 4-player co-op in a game that you would honestly assume would not have any co-op at all.
Right.
And I'm a sucker for a good co-op game. So there's just a lot there, and I haven't, like, I've played through it almost twice now because we played with Brody a second time, and I haven't minded. It's just a fun game, really good gameplay.
The gunplay sucks, but the melee.
The gunplay is, I wouldn't say it sucks as much as it's just dated.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel good. It's nothing special. But you play Dying Light for the melee anyway. Unless if you're me, then you just play everything for the guns and
you play it for
the melee's
You
really
play
good.
it to pick up a giant sledgehammer and bash everything's head in.
So I would probably like it.
Yes.
Yeah. I would. Me and
Yes, you
last
would
time we
really like
played,
Dying
I
Light.
actually told them that you would like it a lot. There's katanas and stuff. So
Right. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
watched a lot
you
of
can rig a
gameplay of
katana.
people playing it, but I haven't just never played it.
You can modify a katana to where it basically is lit on fire, and just start cutting through zombies with a fire lit katana and lighting them on fire and stuff. And there's a bow. There's different arrow types for the bow. It's kind of underwhelming, but it's still fun because the explosive arrow is like, you think it's just like a single explosion, but it's actually like a cluster bomb arrow. So when you shoot one, it's like just everywhere. That's really good.
I'm in. Bow, fire sword.
We have told you this before.
No, you haven't. You didn't say bow and fire sword.
I remember
you
the
missed
thing,
those
that
lines.
got you into Fallout was that you could pick up a flaming sword.
Yeah, I found that and I used it a lot. I still haven't beat. I never beat Fallout 4. I couldn't.
even
I
played it.
literally could not make a decision about who I wanted to join.
So you
I
just put
quit.
it off forever.
I just quit. I said I'm done. I'm not finishing the. I know what the ending is for all 3, because I looked it up because I was like torn.
and you still couldn't pick.
I was torn in my choice, and I didn't like any of the choices. So I was like, you know what? I'm done. I just quit this game. But anyway, all right. Well, I might have to try Dying Light then. I
Okay.
might have to get back into it.
It's probably on sale right now.
It keeps going on sale like all the time. I don't know if it's going to be a Christmas sale, but
We're in
be
week
surprised.
2 of the PS4 holiday sale. As of this episode, they've been some pretty good deals so far.
pretty
So,
good, people.
Pretty good. A couple of them I have already gotten, so yeah, it was a bummer. But anyway, all right, Brody, what's your number 2?
Blast off. 2 is Persona 5.
I knew that was gonna be your
was
2.
on my anticipated of 2017 list.
It was. It was.
And you told me you have a lot of weird games that you like, Brody.
No, I said you have a lot of weird anime games that you like.
Yeah.
Because yours was Fire Emblem something,
Fates.
Fates, and then I don't know, and then that, and then there was
Nier
one
Automata.
other one that Nier. That was the one that really kind of took me over the edge because there were some weird things in the trailers that
It's
I
a weird
looked up.
game, but it's good. But yeah, Persona 5 is live the life of a boy in high school, and it sounds really weird when you try to talk about it.
Right.
And that was like one of the things that I was worried about going into the game, because I know you have to spend a lot of time like working on like your friendships with people and like talking to different people and raising the levels with people, and that like helps level up your different personas that you can get, which is basically, it's kind of like Pokemon but with like weirder Pokemon. But it's a really fun game. I like it a lot. I think I've talked about it on the podcast, so I won't put
Only
too much.
a little bit, but yeah. The only thing that's keeping me away from it is I've heard people talk about it. It's just so much.
It's long.
It's an intense ride.
I'm probably maybe halfway in at like 40 hours, and I'm like at the third boss now,
Right.
and it's like, yeah, it's a really long game, so you definitely have to like put time into it. But I don't think at any point in the game that I've just been like, because they're constantly introducing like new characters that you can like add to your party and fight with and stuff.
So it's a fun gameplay experience.
Yeah.
It's just very long.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm at 40 hours in, and like there's still like showing like new things that you can do, and I'm still finding new things in the game. So that's pretty crazy that it's lasted that long and still kept the newness of it.
Right.
But yeah, that is my number 2, and it's awesome. I like it.
Cool.
I don't know. I might switch that one and Nier. They go back and forth.
That was your
2.
2 and 4?
Yeah,
Okay.
they go back and forth. Mario does the same. He doesn't move.
He doesn't move.
All right.
Like I said, yeah, 2, my 2 was Mario Odyssey. So Brody and I know have the same number 1.
You'd be surprised. I
Steven,
think you'll be surprised at mine.
I might be. Steven, why don't you go first then on number 1? What was your number 1 game of 2017?
Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Okay.
It feels like it did not come out this year, but it did.
It did. It was
March.
early this year, right? Yeah, March.
March. But I've got a lot of mixed feelings about Ghost Recon. But when you get right down to it, it changed. It kind of turned the series on its head to where it was a massive open world tactical shooter. It translated pretty well. It was flawed, but ultimately it felt like a good first attempt in a new direction. So not only was it just so much fun playing through it with Miles and whoever else would join me, but I think it has a lot of promise for where the franchise could go from there. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I've already kind of thought out what I would want in another Ghost Recon game, and I'm just going to say this real quick, but the Nemesis system in Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor and all that kind of stuff, how awesome would it be, Ubisoft, if you're listening, how awesome would it be if there was a form of Nemesis system in the form of taking down a cartel where you could pay off certain lieutenants within the cartel and have them spy or betray other people, have an agent on the inside work him up to the top, then have him fight for you, stuff like that. There's so much more depth that can be done, and that was my one big complaint with the game, was that it still felt pretty cut and dry to where every mission ended the same way.
Right.
But all in all, it was really good. It plays extremely well. It's just a fun experience that even though I've beaten it, I could go back and play it again and still have just as much fun.
I played the beta with Steven, and I think we went through all the missions and stuff that were available in the beta. And then by the end of it, we were just flying helicopters to the top of the sky limit and jumping out and skydiving down to the bottom.
Miles does this thing where whenever we're gonna drop in on a mission, we go to the very top of the map, and then I hear from his phone playing
Oh god.
that song from High School Musical,
Soren.
where Soren flying, there's not a star in heaven that we can't reach, that whole song. And then when it gets into the chorus, we jump out, and so we're skydive. Yes, right there. And I don't know why he does it, but he does it, and that's something that happens all the time.
Any game that lets you have a bunch of friends, and it's just here, guys, just go crazy.
That's why I'm so upset with Far Cry 5, is because it looks awesome, but it's only 2-player.
Yeah.
But it's I want to play with all my friends.
Right.
Come on.
At least 3.
Skydiving,
Jeez.
anytime I hear or think of skydiving, I remember the time that me and Steven played Saints Row 3, and it's the very first mission of you jumping out of the helicopter and landing on a house party in a penthouse. And it's Kanye West. What's the song?
Power.
Yeah.
Power.
Oh my gosh. And
I remember playing that mission, and we would wait and sync the jump. And then there was a pool, and at one point I pulled the chute, and I was like, "Birdie, what are you doing?" And he was like, "I'm aiming for the pool," and he just torpedoed straight into the pool. And he was okay. He ragdolled a little bit, but he got up and just started shooting.
that game was so
It was awesome.
Which one was
Yes.
was it 4 or 3 that the opening is you climbing a rocket with
That's 4.
Okay.
That's 4. Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith playing while your entire crew is saying bye to you because they think you've gone on a suicide mission.
Yeah.
And it's the first 3 minutes of the game, and then that sequence ends with you detonating the bomb, with you skydiving down towards the earth, and you look at the camera and give them a thumbs up, and then you land in the Oval Office, and boom, you're the president of the United States.
I love that series so much. It's so dumb.
It's so good. 4 became so It was just you could not get more outrageous than that game.
Yeah, I mean,
was
I
so
loved 4 just because the superpowers actually felt awesome.
Oh yes.
Like I know a lot of
Oh,
people
yes.
had it. This is going on a completely different thing, but like I know a lot of people had a problem with like how crazy Saints Row got at that point. But like I didn't care because I was
Yeah.
flying and running like over water. It was awesome.
funny.
Screw you people who thought that was too crazy.
Wow.
It was the first game that I actually felt like a superhero in.
All right. Number 1 for Brody
And
I
I don't know
is
what. Brody and I.
is Legend of
Knack
Zelda
2,
Breath of the
baby!
Wild.
What'd you
He
say?
said Knack 2, baby.
Oh yeah, Knack 2.
It was Knack 2, baby. It was the best game of 2017. No, Breath of the Wild. Definitely. It's my favorite game I played this year. By
And
far.
it was our number one of anticipated.
It was our number 1 anticipated both, and it's only fitting that it's the best one we've played this year.
so good. It
It's so good.
Did it exceed expectations or did it
In every
meet them?
way. In every way. Every time they showed more of this game, I was just like, that's amazing. There's no way. And then when they really started showing you the game, I just was blown away. And then playing the game, you keep finding things that just, it was like, I can do this? Yes, because the rules of the world allow you to. There have been several interviews lately about stuff that they did for the game, and one of the biggest complaints from people, this was in an IGN interview, IGN was like, why didn't y'all let people pet dogs? Like, why is that not a thing we can do? And they were like, what we did was we gave a world, and we gave you a number of things you can do in this world. So basically it was like, what's the smallest amount of things we can give a character to do, but they can do the most with? So like climbing, that's one thing that you can do a ton with.
Which just going back to like other open world games, it sucks that I can't climb everything.
Right. And that's what it was. It's so open. You can go in any direction. It literally doesn't matter for the story. It doesn't matter for any of it. My biggest complaint with it is the story.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
And I think it's a hint. I think it's because they wanted you to be able to go any direction. They pretty much just left it very vague and very loose. I mean, love some of the
pretty non-existent story.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, you're getting flashbacks,
Yeah.
but you really aren't getting much of a story. You're just piecing together what happened. But they introduced so many great ideas, like the champions.
Yeah.
If that's not something that continues as like part of Zelda lore,
I mean, that's
I'm
always
gonna throw a
kind
fit.
of been a thing with like,
but not so much as like champions. You know what I mean?
I guess.
Like they've never selected the one person who's like their role is to help Link. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's kind of how all the older, like in Ocarina of Time, there was the sages.
Yeah, but those are like beings. These are like
There were
people.
beings. There were people.
But they're like they don't. You know, like the champions are like people like Link, who they're here, they're physical, they fight. The sages have always been people in robes
Nuh-uh.
who just.
Because one of
We're
the
not thinking
sages
of the
is
same things,
Saria.
Is
The green hair girl from Ocarina of Time, yeah. She was the one
Who
for,
were the other ones?
Ruto was one. The Zora princess.
Uh-huh.
I don't know all the other ones.
Well, regardless,
but yeah.
I liked how they were implemented in Zelda, in Breath of the Wild.
They were well done.
Yeah. But yeah, gameplay's fun. I still am finding things in the world that I didn't know were there.
Yeah.
When I did the Champions Ballad DLC, I found this guy who wants to foot race you up a hill, but everything is blowing up on this hill coming at you. Like there's a boulder that comes at you at one point. There's a bomb that goes off, and a bunch of trees start rolling down. I never found that. I spent so much time in it.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
It's
a good freaking game, people.
It's a great game.
If you have a Switch, get it. I bought a Switch for it.
I mean, pretty much.
Even though I had a Wii U, but I mean, I wanted to play it on the Switch,
Yeah.
so I saw my Wii U and got
a
that.
Switch.
Yeah.
So
It's.
my
Go ahead, Steven.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say.
Yeah, you go ahead.
It's so worth everything to play it. But go ahead, Steven.
Go ahead.
So my closing comments on this year. Clearly, the Nintendo Switch kind of swept the playing field.
In a big way, they had a huge year.
Yes, and I have nothing to say on the game specifically, not because of my own cynicism or the fact that I don't like Nintendo, because I do like Nintendo. I love Nintendo.
Right.
I just don't have a Switch, and I wish I did. So this year has in the majority been a observing year for me, kind of seeing the bigger stories, the bigger games, and how they've done. Like, I was texting you guys during the Game Awards, and I was saying, as soon as Breath of the Wild was announced as Game of the Year, I immediately said, I 100% agree with that. Because everything I've seen, I haven't played the game yet, but everything I've seen was above and beyond.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. So I'm hoping that I can actually get more into the newer games next year. But this year has just been kind of my perspective based on what I've seen and not what I've played.
Yeah, and they've talked about, Breath of the Wild. They're already working on the next game. I hope it's a Majora's Mask-esque style of Zelda game that's going to come out on the Switch in 5 years.
That'd be awesome if they brought the mask mechanic back.
Regardless of that would be awesome.
Just because the Zora mask was my favorite one in Majora's Mask. But, like, I want a freaking Ruto mask, please.
So you can fly.
Yeah, if you can fly, awesome.
That was one of the things that through anticipation and just talking about this game, we were both like, if there is a loft wing in this game,
they so missed
I kept
out.
waiting for it. The bike should have been a loft wing.
That would have been
Let's
way
be
better.
honest. That's what it should have been.
That would have been way better.
Yeah. But anyway, I hope they do a Breath of the Wild 2, like Majora's Mask was Ocarina of Time 2. That would be awesome. So.
Yeah.
Well, hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Chortle Cast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a few things we'd love for you to do. Number one, if you're watching on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com. You can leave us a comment on that video. We'd love to hear your thoughts. You can also, if you're listening on iTunes, you can leave us a nice little review. Tell us what you thought about our choices for Game of the Year. And then you can also send us an email at chortlecast@gmail.com. And you can let us know what you thought. If you want to hear some other topics, stuff like this, where we kind of talk about a bunch of games and that sort of thing. And last but not least, you can tweet us at Chortle Games on Twitter, and we'll tweet you back.
And I would like to read a comment from one of our lovely commenters.
Yes, from
who
last week's podcast.
Yes. This was a week ago, so yeah.
Yes.
This is from user Catch Chasin' Debugs. I'm commenting. I'm the one lucky commenter. I like both of you guys as a whole lot, and I think you're pretty awesome.
Thank you, Cats Chasing Debugs.
We don't know who you are,
but we appreciate you.
Just kidding, it's my fiance.
Yeah. So anyway, 2017, guys, it's been a great year for games and movies and all sorts of stuff.
And for the channel.
We've gotten a lot of new subscribers. We've added Steven. He is pretty much an official member now of Chortle Games. So the team has grown. We're growing slowly but surely. Next year is only going to get better. I know for Christmas I'm getting a few things. I'm either getting a stream deck or I'm getting a green screen or both. So
I don't know
something is going to happen.
What would we do with a stream deck?
Well, when we stream on Fridays, which we have to kind of kick back up a little better, we can press buttons and make things happen while we're streaming.
I want to press buttons.
You can press all the buttons, buddy. I'll let you be the button presser.
Wow.
Or we might have a green screen next year. So who knows? It's only going to get better from here. We've got lots of great games coming up. We've already recorded a couple episodes of Gang Beasts that's coming next year.
That episode's going to be great.
The audio quality might not be great, but the content is going to be hilarious.
I knew that. That's what I need to ask for Christmas. Is like good audio recording equipment.
I mean, our Yeti mics are fine, but just when you have 4 people in a room that's got wood floors and walls, it just doesn't. There's a lot of echoing going on. It doesn't work. But anywho, well, thank you for sticking with us this year. Again, the Christmas episode is this Monday on Christmas. You can go look at that, watch that. It's going to be really funny, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. You'll see us again January 5th next year. Any closing thoughts, guys? This is wrapping up the year. Steven, thank you for being a part.
Thank you.
Any closing thoughts, boys?
Be careful what you're doing because Santa's always watching.
You've only got 2 days to make Santa happy, so get on that.
You better make Santa freaking happy.